gonna put this out there. This is currently the best basketball shoe on the market right now, and probably Nike's best basketball shoe in the last 10 years. What's good, everyone? It's Steve from Sneaker Tech Talk, back with another video today. For today's video, we're gonna look at the very highly anticipated performance review for the Nike Lebron 20. All right, just to start things off on the Lebron 20 performance review, we will start with the traction. As you can see here, it is a multi-directional traction pattern, and there are kind of some storytelling patterns here with a crown here and just a bunch of stuff throughout the bottom of the outsole. Obviously, you can see the Dunkman here and how this performs on court. As far as clean floors and dusty floors, I had no issues at all. And this is probably the best traction pattern out right now. It's just unfortunate it comes at a price tag of $200. But as far as the lateral movements, making hard cuts laterally, or forward movements, this is gonna have you covered. I would stray away from bringing this outside, as at the forefoot, it is pretty shallow here, but the grooves basically from here back are a lot deeper, as you can see here. But as far as the traction goes on the Nike Lebron 20s, I would actually give these a very solid 10 out of 10. Again, here on the Time Machine colorway, it is kind of semi-translucent with that pink, but just the way these performed on court, I have no gripes at all. I really didn't even have to wipe these either, so the Lebron 20 is a huge step up from last year on the Lebron 19, which for me was just a very disappointing setup all the way around. But here on the Lebron 20, as far as the traction goes, it's absolutely amazing. So as far as the cushioning goes on the Lebron 20s, it is a pretty big departure from what we're used to with all those big air bubbles and such from the 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, and even last year on the 19s, I think we had some of the biggest air bubbles we've ever had on the Lebron series. But this year they strayed away from that and they went with a full-length Cushlon midsole, which is very soft once broken in, honestly, and that wraps all the way around the shoe. And then embedded within that midsole, you have a 13mm heel Zoom airbag and a Zoom turbo bag in the forefoot. And just on this card here, which is very nicely added by Nike, you can actually see the tech breakdown. So you have that Zoom turbo bag in the forefoot and the very large heel bag in the heel. And the way this plays on court is it has a ton of impact protection, especially in the heel. Just the way the Cushlon kind of compresses with your heel and having that Zoom airbag. The Zoom airbag in the heel is bottom loaded, whereas that Zoom turbo bag in the forefoot is top loaded. So you do get a bit of more of that cushion on the forefoot, but just the way this plays, ton of impact protection, pretty good court feel. It's not as low as Kobe's, but these do have better cushioning than Kobe's typically do in the forefoot. So really no gripes on my end as far as the cushion goes. Again, I'm 34 years old with some knee issues here and there, so this was a very welcome addition, and it was just a lot different from the Lebron shoes of the past. So I'm really happy with what Nike did here. And the Cushlon over time will break down, but I do think those Zoom airbags will hold up for years to come. So I'm very much looking forward to grabbing a ton of colorways in the Nike Lebron 20s. But as far as the overall cushioning setup goes in the Nike Lebron 20s, I would have to give these a very solid 9.5 out of 10. For me, it's basically a perfect setup. So as far as the fit goes in the Nike Lebron 20, I did go with my usual size 10.5, and my toe is basically right here at the end of the shoe. There's just a tiny bit of room. And honestly, I would say go true to size unless you're an extremely wide footer. This material does conform to your foot and break in really nicely, so even if you're a wide footer, I would still say go true to size, or if you can just try them on in store, that's probably your best bet. But the overall fit is great. There's no sliding around within the shoe. That's to do with the support features, which we will cover right away. But the overall fit for me was very much a one-to-one fit. This knit upper really hugs your foot. And as you can see, the toe box is very tapered as well. So there's not a lot of volume in that toe box. So it's just very much a solid fit all the way around the shoe. And it might be my actual favorite feature of this shoe, because if you don't have a good fit in a basketball shoe, for me, it's just not worth playing in. So as far as the fit goes in the Nike Lebron 20, I would have to give this a very solid 10 out of 10. No issues at all. I think Nike did a fantastic job here on the Nike Lebron 20s. One last thing I did want to mention as far as the fit goes is the internal kind of padding is this Nike Sphere technology. They did use it on the Nike Lebron Air Zoom Generation 2s and 3s, and it's basically foam with a bunch of little holes cut out in it. It makes for a lighter weight foam compound in the back of the shoe, and then just a really easily broken in foam compound as well. It's very comfortable on the heel of your foot. So as far as the materials go on the Nike Lebron 20s, the upper of the shoe consists mostly of this kind of knitted or mesh upper. They're calling it a mesh, but for me this is more of like almost like a fly knit, and it's very free flowing on foot, and it really doesn't have a ton of break-in time as far as the materials go. There are kind of some synthetic suede or nubuck here on the eye stay and on the tongue, but just this utilization of this material for me is awesome. And you also have this kind of suede or nubuck rand here that wraps around the toe. So for me, the execution of materials on these is awesome. I think Jason Petrie and his team did a fantastic job. And then again here with the Time Machines, it's that knit upper and then almost like a synthetic leather on this pair. And then almost kind of like a shiny, not patent leather, but it has a sheen to it here. So I think the materials on the Nike Lebron 20s are pretty amazing. They really fit your foot and hug your foot very nicely and offer a pretty much zero break-in time. As far as the utilization of materials on the Nike Lebron 20, I'm gonna have to give this a very solid 9 out of 10. Does this shoe really warrant the price tag of $200? I don't think so. I think this shoe would be priced perfectly at like $160 to $175, but it is his 20th signature shoe, so they're going to be charging a premium for this. So as far as the weight goes on the Nike Lebron 20, they are dubbing this his lightest shoe ever. One thing I will note is the Trinity colorway seems to come in just a little bit lighter. So in my size 10.5, it does come in at 14.85 ounces. And then my 10.5 in the Time Machine colorway comes in at 15.45. So, you know, it's over 0.6 ounce heavier, which I find it kind of funny. I don't know if it's just the different materials. Maybe that leather on the eye stay weighs a little bit more than that really thin nubuck or suede here on the Trinity colorway. Regardless, I think this is a great thing for the future of the line because this is his lightest shoe ever. And I know a lot of people don't really want to play in a shoe that weighs 20 or 21 ounces, or even more like last year on the 19s. I think it weighed 23 ounces. It just becomes too heavy on foot. So I'm definitely liking what Nike is doing with the low top and just the lightweight nature of the Nike Lebron 20. So as far as the support goes on the Nike Lebron 20s, these might be the most supportive low top basketball shoe Nike has actually ever made. So starting at the back of the shoe, you do have this internal heel counter, which definitely keeps your heel locked and in place. It is a low top shoe, but as long as you have a sturdy and really rigid heel counter, you're not going to have any issues with any ankle support. And then moving your way down from that, the shoe does have a pretty wide and stable base right here, and it does have an outrigger that flares out here, as you can see here in the forefoot, which definitely prevents your foot from teetering over and kind of helps prevent your foot from rolling over within the shoe. Moving your way up from that, you do have this forefoot kind of clip here, and it does kind of just wrap up just a little bit over your foot, but the knitted portion here at the forefoot here is just a little bit more rigid when you kind of bend it down. I think there's just a bit of more glue here, and it does kind of have some fish wire running through the upper as well, so that kind of offers some support on those hard lateral cuts. I really didn't have any issues with my foot spilling over on the side of the shoe, which is definitely fantastic for a low top shoe, and just for a shoe that costs $200, honestly, because last year his shoe cost $200, and for me, the 19s were just a nightmare to play in. And then moving your way down from that, you do have a carbon fiber shank plate. It does run from basically here just right to about here, so it does not run full length, and it does offer some really nice torsional rigidity within the shoe. So again, as far as the support goes on the Nike Lebron 20, this is a very supportive shoe. I will also mention that these do have kind of a traditional eye stay, the way they lace up, but if you crank your laces down, you're really going to have no issues with any support features or fit within the shoe. I think Nike did a really good job. So as far as the support goes, for me, with this being a low top shoe as well, I'm going to have to give the support a very solid 10 out of 10. One thing I will note is this little X here on the eye stay right there. On this pair, it's still on there. You can see it, it's blue, but on my right shoe, The first time I put these on, I pulled the laces and it just popped right out. So for $200, I think they could do a bit of a better job with the stitch work and preventing that X from ripping or tearing off the tongue of the shoe. But the reason that X is there is because this is his 20th shoe, and when you put them together you can see XX, which obviously makes up 20. So a pretty cool feature on the shoe, but I was a little bummed out with when it tore on me, because again, this shoe does retail for $200 USD and $260 over here in Canada. Alright, so that's going to do it for today's performance review on the Nike LeBron 20. Again, these do run for $200 USD, $260 here in Canada. So the price tag is pretty hefty all the way around in my opinion. This is currently my favorite basketball shoe to play in, bar none. I'll probably be picking up like 5 or 6 pairs of these over the year. So I'm really looking forward to the future colorways of the Nike LeBron 20. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments of the Nike LeBron 20. Have you been able to get your hands on a pair yet? I know they are reselling for like $300 USD right now, which is pretty annoying. But I think if you stay patient, there will be a ton of colorways coming out, and they'll probably hit the sales racks eventually as well. But again, $200 USD, $260 here in Canada, the lightest LeBron shoe to date. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and give me a follow over on Instagram at 23MJ88. It is an extension of my YouTube channel. I appreciate all the new subscriptions here on YouTube and all the new follows over on Instagram. As always, stick around for the on-court footage at the end of the video, and until next time, peace.